Okay, everybody. So I wanted to talk about keeping your soul. And it just dawned on to me tonight through conversation, through inspired conversation, full on, that when people say, oh, she sold her soul or he sold his soul, they sold their souls. I think it that's a possible idea. I think that's something that can be happening. But I think, I'm going to analyze this a different way and really spit it out a different way. I think it means that you had this talent, or a person had said talent, and developed it and developed it to a point that finally they were where they wanted to be financially, and the finances really started to take off. And instead of further developing who they were, which means diversifying and pushing out into another goal, bringing another stream of consciousness to something else that they wanted to achieve. And that stream of consciousness would be their way of thinking around things. Instead of doing that, they decided not to diversify, become a master of the one thing that they got put on for. And I mean, this applies to anybody, but if you want to be a fully well-rounded person, a person who is very fulfilled, you have to admit that eventually you realize that you have mastered something already. You've mastered it. It's on autopilot basically. And that after that, other things come along that you want to master. You want to learn. You want to experiment with until you get your own technique and then maybe bring that to the masses, or maybe explain to your children what it is that you learned about this new thing, thereby further developing who you are. But when we only rely on this one thing that's going to put us out there to the masses and get our bills paid, make sure the checks are rolling in very frequently, and that they continue to bounce and grow and double up and do everything that they're supposed to do. And then we stop. We stop exploring outside of that because God forbid the check should go anywhere. But let's say you have a true passion that develops over time that has nothing to do with what gave you notoriety, with what gave you the money. But it's something that's going to fulfill you. It's as good as drinking water on a hot day and you super thirsty after a run. You need to drink this glass of water. You need to follow this passion. Sadly enough, a lot of people do not follow the next passion, let alone the next passion and the next passion. Because in truth, when we were kids and being told to, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody really says that that lasts about 5 to 10 years. And that within that period of time, because we all adults here now for the most part, grown adults, we know that we have picked up new passions over time. And it doesn't mean that you're being flaky. Especially if you're a person like I am, it's just like, I'm going to go out here and try this. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to leave any stone left unturned. By the time I get out of here, I will have gone after the goals, and those that were supposed to happen will have happened. Those that weren't, I learned from, and on and on and on. And right? But let's just say that you choose not to overturn every stone. And I wish I could have, but I started this business and that's what overtook it. But at a certain point, it becomes rote. A lot of the times you can hire managers that are going to handle your business. You have to check in with them once a month, but you can devote other time to your next passion. And in truth, that next passion shows up by the time you're in your 30s. It shows up. It's been hanging around in your 20s for real. But it really starts to show up and like boom, 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 the ticking clock and whatever. It shows up in your 30s and you have to then follow that. A lot of people choose not to. And they begin to die inside. Yes, they do. With those many deaths that are happening because the passion is not being followed, people then dip off into other things that maybe they should have no business getting involved in. And this is when people go, oh, they sold their soul. Because they're still seeing that they're successful in one area because it was rote. But in truth, as whole living organisms on this planet, as beings, we are very multifaceted and can pull a whole lot of passionate experiences out of ourselves and share them with the world, and they turn into something. And that is what we are supposed to do. Think about that. Did you sell your soul, or did you forget to develop it? Because once again, for some reason, people think that soul development only takes place in religious institutions and possibly on the couch of a psychiatrist or psychologist office. Serious. And what does that have to do with anything? How's it? It's part of it. I think if you need to take care of yourself in that way, it's a big part of it. But part of the reason that so many of us need to go and find these extra things to help us to open up the receptors, to cipher with our friends, to is because we're not following our passions. We're not doing what really makes us happy, or we're not even alive anymore. Feeling like, oh, I'm just doing it, I'm getting along with the get on, and nothing is making you feel like I needed to be here. I'm just saying. I needed to do this. Something brand new that has nothing to do with what you are known for. Just think about that, please. People say, oh, you done sold your soul. That's my word for the night, everyone. Have a good weekend. Peace.